Hi YouTube, OCG here from True Narukami. I apologize for the slight delay on this deck profile. This deck profile I'm about to do is the Chaos Breaker Dragon deck, which is really popular right now as it has been topping in a lot of the tournaments over in Japan. However, this deck profile will be a little bit different from the decks that are topping in Japan. It's just a personal preference of OCG on what cards to run in the deck. So anyways, here we go with the deck profile. We'll start off with the Great Zeros, our starting Vanguard, Dusttail Unicorn. This card's effect: when there is a locked unit, you may counterblast 1, put this card into Soul, and choose another unit to lock. The triggers, I pretty much run the standard 4 draw, 8 critical, there's 4 crit, and here's another 4. And 4 heal. Now moving on to the great ones. This is where the deck becomes a little different from certain decks, which you have probably seen deck profiles of, since they are listed out, the top decks that top in the tournaments. But for sure, like any other deck, yeah, basically you run 4 perfect guards for sure. And probably just like any other Chaos Breaker deck, 4 of the Palladiums. Reason being, this card you may counterblast 1 at the end phase. If your opponent has a locked card, you may pay the cost and put this card into Soul. That unit remains locked. And here is maybe where the grade 1 lineups become a little different. I choose to run 4 10k hitters. And 2 of this card, I forget the card name, but it's from BT12, number 048, you can look it up. This card's effect is an auto effect. For every lock card on your opponent's side of the field, this card gains 2k. So yeah, kind of why I use this card is, yeah, because often you will be locking your opponent's cards with your Break Ride, your Chaos Breaker Dragon effect. So yeah, having this card as a booster helps you potentially hit better numbers like 20k, 21k, 22k, stuff like that. Going to the grade 2s, I run 3 Colony Makers. This card's effect: if there is a locked card, you may counterblast 1. This is only when this card is placed in the rearguard circle. And there has to be a locked unit on your opponent's side of the field. Proceeding, you may then search your deck for a grade 1 or less and call it to a rearguard slot. So yeah, this card is kind of like Matcha or Tartu. Only restriction having being that there has to be a locked unit on your opponent's side of the field. But due to that, yeah, the unit that you search for does not have to be placed behind this unit. It can be placed anywhere, which is a little different than what your Tartu or your Matcha can do, because those ones have to be placed directly behind. And I run also 2 grade 2 10k vanillas. I run 3 this Neo Bolems. Same effect as the grade 1 auto effect. For every lock card your opponent has, this card gains 2k. Some people choose not to run this card and choose to run a Mobius instead, which is a Vanguard effect only, which has to hit the Vanguard, and when it hits, you may choose the opponent's card to lock. Reason being why I don't run Mobius is because often enough, yeah, you will lock your opponent's card, but then it goes to their turn, and basically at the end of that turn, that card gets unlocked. True, it might be good if you are playing decks like Neo Nectar Arboros Dragon, or like stuff like Ringo Brave, or stuff like Silver Form, where it relies on Ionia. But having Mobius hit and locking a card, I specifically don't really prefer it. I mean, it's a Vanguard only effect, and your odds of drawing that card in your starting hand is pretty much not that high. It's a 3 in 49 chance you'll get it. And yeah, it also will have to rely on Palladium to keep it locked, assuming you are going to ride over your grade 2 on Chaos Breaker Dragon the turn afterwards. But ideally, you probably will not be wanting to do so, because you would like your Break Ride card. And yeah, I also run 12 grade 2 hitters. Sorry, four grade 2 12k hitters. Now moving on to the grade 3s. This is where the deck gets a little interesting. Currently, this is my grade 3 lineup. Go with 4 Chaos Breaker Dragons and 3 Infinite Zero Dragons. The Break Ride effect, basically when you Limit Break 4, ride a grade 3 over it, you may choose to lock a front unit and a back unit. It does not have to be in the same column, and your Vanguard gains 10k. I would like probably to take one Chaos Breaker Dragon out, because the Break Ride is pretty sick for this deck. Reason being, your Chaos Breaker Dragons effect, Limit Break 4, at the end phase, when your opponent unlocks a card, you may pay the cost of Soul Blast 1. It has to be a Starvader. You can retire that unit which was just locked and draw a card. Chaos Breaker's other effect is once per turn you may counterblast 1. Ditch a Starvader card into the graveyard and choose a unit of your choice to lock on your opponent's side of the field. So, yeah, basically your Break Ride with Chaos Breaker Dragon can become pretty deadly, locking 3 units that turn, then Soul Blasting 3 to draw 3 cards. This deck I do find a little Counterblast heavy, basically because you will be needing Counterblast for Chaos Breaker Dragon's effect, and probably maybe your Dust Tail and your Colony. I don't really find myself using Palladium's effect too much, because yeah, you usually once after a Break Ride you mostly only be locking 1 unit per turn. And Soul Blasting, yeah, like you probably will have like 3 cards in Soul, so or maybe 4 if you Break Ride. So yeah, usually I try to save my Chaos Breaker Dragons in my hand if I draw another one, and just ride a Chaos Breaker on top of a Chaos Breaker if I don't have a Break Ride in hand, so that just kind of replenishes the soul. So yeah, that's it for the deck profile. Feel free to leave comments and suggestions on the deck in the comment section below. Yeah, tell me what things you like about the deck, what things you don't like about the deck. But yeah, this is just my own personal preference on how I run this Chaos Breaker Dragon deck. I mean, it's just pretty consistent, so yeah, that's it for now. Yeah, look forward to more deck profiles coming, especially come December with the release of BT14. More support for Genesis, Murakumo, Neo Nectar, Gold and Royal Paladin, and Kagero. And yeah, I will be getting in a carton of BT14 and will be opening it. And pretty much most of the stuff that we pull will be distributed amongst our True Narukami members first, and then anything else that we don't need will be up for grabs. So yeah, that's it for now. Please do subscribe to us. And once we hit 100 subscribers, we will probably be having our first giveaway. So stay tuned.